Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another episode review from Season 5 of The Loud House. Today's episode is titled, School of Shock. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins in Miss Allegra's first grade class, where Lisa begins interrupting all the lessons with her own intelligent input, which starts getting under the skin of her teacher. Finally fed up with Lisa's attitude, her teacher walks out and says Lisa should teach the class her own way for the rest of the day. Lisa begins teaching the class, but because of her vast knowledge and vocabulary, her classmates aren't learning anything and start losing interest. Lisa summons her robot, Darebot 2.0, to help get the class under control. But in spite of all her lessons teaching everyone more than what Miss Allegra could, Lisa's class fail a pop quiz on everything she taught them. She gets the idea to bring learning to life by bringing to life the dinosaur character from their book. However, Dolly the dinosaur goes on a rampage and scares the kids out of the school. It's amazing how no one else besides Mrs. Johnson can see this thing running around. Dolly destroys their bot and eventually corners Lisa. At that moment, Miss Allegra appears and manages to calm the beast down. Lisa apologizes for what happened earlier and admits teaching while connecting with students is more useful than just having knowledge. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. I don't know how this slipped my mind before, but now it all makes sense. Lisa was a 4-year-old kindergartner and then became a 5-year-old first grader, meaning she was gifted enough to move up 1 grade higher than most kids. I can't believe it took me until just now to realize she was skipping grades before being temporarily promoted to Lincoln's 5th grade class. Then again, she does have a PhD, and I could be here rambling on and on about why she doesn't need to be in school, but I think it's fair to say there's at least one lesson she needed to learn if she wants to bestow her intellect on the young minds of others in the future. It's true Lisa has the kind of knowledge not many her age has, and being as smart as she is, the way she talks and educates others would be on the level of adults in the same fields as her. That's made clear in previous episodes where she gives college lectures, attends international conferences, and for a short time lived at a science institute with people much older than her. She has the knowledge and people skills to teach those on her level, but that's the problem she had when it came to teaching her own first grade class. Her classmates were too young to understand what she was saying, and that's why they lost focus and couldn't pass a quiz on what they were supposed to learn. It's another example of how Lisa is sometimes too smart for her own good, despite having good academic intentions. What works good for older people doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work the same way for elementary kids. She wasn't able to connect to her classmates on their level. Enter Miss Allegra, the same teacher Lola and Lana had when they were in the first grade. She's a very interesting character to say the least. We find out she's very protective of what happens in her classroom, noting how she had the room wired with surveillance technology. She also has a relatively short fuse for someone like Lisa, who tries to be a little Miss Know-It-All when this kid criticizes her teaching methods. Maybe this episode takes place early in the school year, and it's the first time Lisa acts condescending to her new teacher in a manner similar to her time in kindergarten. You know, that does remind me of something else I was pondering while watching Allegra for the first few minutes of this episode. Even though I can't stand Lisa's previous teacher, I have to admit Miss Srinivas is a lot tougher than Allegra. Lisa's intellectual input and blunt attitude about the way the lessons are being instructed may have annoyed both of her teachers, but unlike Miss Allegra, we never saw Miss Srinivas walk out of school and tell Lisa to teach the class herself. As far as we know. The most we ever saw Srinivas do was put Lisa down for a nap, as opposed to Allegra simply walking away and thinking no one could be worse than Lola Loud. Makes you wonder what that little brat could have done to make her snap. But anyway, I still respect Allegra for having the skills to teach her class in a way that makes learning fun so they can understand the material. She doesn't have to use big words or speak very maturely if she wants her students to learn. She comes off as the ideal teacher who is very gentle with her class, and I greatly respect that. And when in doubt, she can have the kids shake their sillies out. Apparently, her music works good on calming both kids and dinosaurs. which seems a little too convenient for this episode. While I appreciate the Jurassic Park reference with Dolly and some sort of Godzilla-style showdown with Dairbot, even I have to say it seemed a little too easy for Miss Allegra to get a dinosaur to stop causing mayhem by throwing it a juice box and then playing some music. A dog or a cat I can understand, but a dinosaur? Kinda pushing it for this universe. But even without a dinosaur, Allegra would have probably come back if Lisa started losing total control of her students and couldn't handle them anymore even with Dairbot. In the end, Lisa learned it takes more than just having facts to be an effective teacher. After this, I'm sure Lisa will leave the teaching to the teachers. One can only hope. Overall, this episode was not too bad. While I don't agree with Miss Allegra initially leaving school grounds, I don't really blame her either given Lisa's attitude. Maybe just hiding out somewhere in school or taking Lisa's spot in class in some kind of trading job scenario would have been a little better, but the same lesson would have been learned regardless. The moral to Lisa's story was you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you can't effectively teach your class anything and have them retain that same knowledge, all those facts come off as worthless and you just wasted your time. Again, Lisa's methods of teaching may be useful to older people who understand what she's saying, but not so much to kids within her age range. She really shouldn't have been as shocked as she was when she realized her methods were achieving the opposite of what she wanted. But to be fair, this was the first time she was lecturing people other than adults, so maybe she thought it would work on her peers if it was working good on adults. Aside from Lisa, it was nice seeing Darcy return with a speaking role, seeing a new Jeff Bennett Dairbot. Lisa really likes that voice on her inventions, doesn't she? And it was nice seeing Mrs. Johnson again. And given how Lucy only moved up to the 4th grade, I doubt we'll be seeing her again after this. With that said, I give School of Shock an 8.1 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes my review of School of Shock. This was a step up from Lisa's previous starring role from earlier in the season, so hopefully we get another good episode starring her later on. Just, maybe with less protein nuggets. So what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.